The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everybody. We are here to participate together in the Libra full moon webinar, and we are not far off from the actual full moon, which is in about I would say 5 hours and 5 minutes and 43 seconds. This is a very important sign, Libra, at this time in world history and in the development of humanity. We have a world which is not in balance. And I think we can see that clearly. Environmentally, it is the case. And the elements are in discord at this time. Within the human family, it is certainly the case. And we have an unusual karmic situation which probably dates back not only to the moon chain, but I think from certain maladjustments that are coming from the previous solar system, although that seems far-fetched to many, but the Tibetan teacher tells us that it is so. At the present time, we have a great deal of financial imbalance, which is about the question of sharing, one of the great Aquarian virtues, and the question of justice and fair play in sharing. The Christ said that the rich and the poor you will always have with you, but me you only have for a little while. Well, there are some great adjustments going on between the super privileged in this world and those who do not have enough to sustain their aspirations, their pursuit of fulfillment. And we are witnessing it this time because the planetary horoscope has Libra growing in strength within it. We're witnessing many movements towards adjustments. It is a Uranian time, a time of transformation. We are realizing that the planet Uranus has a lot to do with the financial condition of the world and that which is to be manifested. And we understand that Uranus is very strong esoterically in Libra and also ruling as a whole the age of Aquarius into which we are now entering. We're in that overlap period when Pisces is fading out and Aquarius is fading in quite rapidly, so that we're told that already in this century, the 21st century, the Piscean influence will disappear for all practical purposes. So these are critical times, and if groups like ours can help to restore the balance inwardly, subjectively, because these inner causes do work out as in outer expression, then we are doing something of value. So let us think, as we merge with each other in consciousness and in presence, and merge with the gathering presence of the spiritual hierarchy, that we are doing something to bring the balance back to our troubled planet, troubled humanity. It will take years, of course, before the balance is restored and the era of peace supervenes. We are told in the symbolic scriptures that Satan will be bound for 1,000 years. Well, we're talking about the condition of the elemental nature of man, the mind, emotions, and body, which will be subject to the disciplines of peace. And a kind of peace, it's a Libran theme, in which fulfillment of the many will take the place of the privilege of just the few. We have here the Libran banner with the keynote, the spiritual keynote. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. The Tibetan gave indigo as the color for Libra, interestingly enough, and while we might think of it as a predominantly third-ray sign, and it is very much that way, like the Earth, it has a very strong second-ray component, and I think is one of the major signs of the Christ. The planet of love, wisdom, Venus, here in indigo, is indicated as the Esoteric ruler, and this is a planet that our Earth emulates, and we as rather Martian elemental personalities also emulate the planet of Venus, which stands for the solar angel. In violet here we have the Esoteric ruler, which is Uranus, and transformation through right human relations is due in humanity, a way of relating to each other as beings, as souls, authentically. Everything that has to do with authenticity is Uranian in nature. Finally, the strongest planet in Libra is Saturn, here in ray 3 green, just as we had ray 7 violet. We don't have the orange of Venus, but then its deeper nature is really on the 6th and 2nd ray. And the 5th ray is its soul nature, very important for us. Eventually there will be a still deeper approach to its soft-line nature. Saturn is the exalted planet in Libra, and also the hierarchical ruler, and it speaks of the golden age and a time of true balance and justice between all factors within our creation. And of course it represents the law of karma, which is that austere and just law which brings us into that state of perfected relations. Here we have the Joffre painting. He seems to prefer the kind of alchemical approach, the 7th ray approach, but we certainly see here the balance between the yin and the yang found in Libra, between the male and the female, between the sun and the moon. Here in the infinity symbol, or also a symbol which represents the ajna center. And Libra is one of those signs very associated with the ajna center, because it is there that a major choice is made between the path of the sun and the path of the moon. Actually, I think this image really is a little bit, a little bit out of balance. I think the sun should be on the right-hand side and the moon on the left, but I think you can get the idea. This is a solar character, and this is a lunar character. Here we have the weighing of the heart against the feather. This is an old Egyptian rite, and karma is fulfilled when the heart is as light as a feather, perhaps lighter than a feather. Otherwise, we are weighed down by unfinished business and obligations yet to be fulfilled. So finally, when that occurs, a person is actually free to go on and take the 4th initiation, at which time he will be freed from the obligation to incarnate and no longer subject to that particular phase of karma. We have the rose is blooming in the balance. It is a question of beauty. Really, Libra is one of the signs of the Christ. To those who are familiar with Masonry, we have the checkered floor, the black and the white of life, the great contrasts, the opposites. This is a sign of weighing the values of all things, the sign of the path, the treading of the path, the narrow razor-edged path with poise and harmlessness. Harmlessness, perfect poise, a completed point of view, and divine understanding. Libra leads to love and understanding. That's the second ray aspect of it. So this sign, the master of no man's land, as it has been called, the sign of the interlude, the sign of choice, is critical in our life of discipleship and critical for humanity at this time, as humanity seeks to become the true world disciple. Humanity, the aspirant seeking to become the world disciple, and eventually to take the first initiation, really to reverse the wheel and start treading in the direction of spiritual values. And that decision of reversal is ruled by Libra. Well, there's a great deal one can say about this sign, but the important thing is to establish the balance within one's own energy system, the balance between soul and personality, so that the personality is rightly respected as an instrument of the soul. The fulfillment of karma in love and the achievement of right human relations. These are some of the important things, and especially, I would say, the following of the golden rule, which is found in so many of the world religions and philosophies, that we should do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And then the karmic balance will be restored, the peace will be restored, and we will enter the period of right human relations. I'd like to show you here this beautiful image that Francis Donald has created. It's very, very deep, and I know now that he is sending his zodiacal images to many of you directly, along with the text. So you will be able to study this at your leisure. I will say a few things about it, which Francis has written. He is looking at this figure in the following way. He says, when Athena burst forth fully formed from the head of Zeus, she gave us a most graphic example of the nature of Venus. As a matter of fact, when you think about it, Athena and Venus, the glyphs for them are very similar, but there's a harder edge, straighter lines in the Pallas Athene glyph, but they are closely related. They both are, he says, brilliant and beautiful. She epitomizes the ideal feminine, the third aspect of divinity, brilliant and beautiful. The razor edge also depicts Venus at the instant of her emerging, and here you can see the razor edge path that she is treading. The fragments of her body still half in the darkness of the noumenal realm, half bathed in the light of manifestation. And here you see her emerging, and this is the coming into the light, but there's still the latent noumenal realm. By stepping onto the narrow razor-edged path which runs between the pairs of opposites, she at once exemplifies the lesson of Libra and reveals the gift of Venus, the ability to coordinate mind and heart, or as the Tibetan tells us, the power of mind transmuted into wisdom through the instrumentality of love. That's a brilliant definition the Tibetan has given us concerning the power of Venus, the exoteric ruler. The power of mind transmuted into wisdom through the instrumentality of love. Just as Venus emerges from the radiant violet male figure, and I assume that this is the male figure behind with the strong suggestion of violet, which in this image represents Uranus, the esoteric ruler of Libra. So does the impetus to coordinate the mind and heart emerge from a more fundamental purpose, that of anchoring the realm of the soul in our world through the medium of the personality. This is the work of Uranus, which the Tibetan describes as, quote, occult consciousness, or that intelligent fusing condition which produces the scientific at-one-ment of the two factors, higher and lower self, through the intelligent use of the mind. Libra is a very mental sign, and we see already that the rulers of Libra thus far described, and we would have to include Saturn, all have a strongly mental component. Venus with its fifth ray, and Uranus with its seventh ray and also third ray, and it's also suggestion of the fifth ray, and Saturn with its very powerful third ray. Saturn, the planet of occult opportunity, he says, depicted at the top of the image, yes, completes the third aspect trinity of influence on Libra. DK tells us Saturn is exalted in Libra, for at the point of balance, opportunity comes. And this is the opportunity to face our karma, to face the unfinished business, the latent difficulties, and make a choice for soul values. Not the usual kind of opportunity that is described in the Jupiterian sense. Now, Francis suggests that we view this symbol in a darkened room, and then more of the geometry will be obvious, but he has done a great work here with the geometrical patterning, and he will describe what he's done. Geometry and sacred number, if you look closely at this image, you can just make out an equilateral triangle originating in the Venusian head chakra, passing down through her arms and fingertips, and crossing at the bottom edge of her torso. So here it is. I hope you can see this, but if not, a closer study of this will allow that. Okay. This is both the Libran and the Saturnian geometrical figure par excellence. We're speaking of the triangle, for it represents the pairs of opposites brought into balance by the higher mind, upper point. It is interesting to note that when the sides of the triangle are extended until the bottom horizontal crosses, are extended until the bottom horizontal crosses beneath Venus feet, it creates two additional equilateral triangles, barely visible here, that hang from each of the Uranian figure's hands, thus providing the underlying geometry for the scales, Libra symbol. Very interesting. Here we have the two triangles of which he is speaking, and all of these look like they are part of a still greater geometrical figure. The triangle is the symbol of Atma. We understand it's the symbol of the balance, of the union of the three aspects in the divine will. This extended triangle creates a tetractys of inner triangles, 10 triangles, the number of perfected man, whose position in relation to the human form reveals some interesting correlations. For instance, the central down-pointing triangle encompasses all the lower chakras, whereas its higher up-turned corresponding triangle contains the higher chakras. Notice also that the head is situated within the highest division of the tetractys. And here we will find a triangle which comprises all the higher chakras, and one which comprises the lower ones, beginning with the solar plexus. This has to be studied very carefully, but we can see there is a profound geometry beneath it. Francis is bringing this to us on the second ray. We learn about the grand or great geometrician, and that God geometrizes. Deep in the violet shadows of this piece, you will find a pentagon. And here is a violet pentagon. From this five-sided figure, which personifies man, Manus, and the fifth ray, Venus, Libra's exoteric ruler, emerges. She is overshadowed by Uranus, who stands at the core of a platonic solid made up of 12 pentagons, and this apparently is more visible in the darkened condition. Here is Uranus behind Venus. They both have a powerful relationship to each other, and when we think about the origin of Venus, Uranus is very, very involved. Okay. I have used this dodecahedron here to represent a deeper octave within the numinal realm befitting the esoteric ruler. Numerologically, the dodecahedron's 30 sides reduced to 3, the number of third-ray Saturn, Libra's hierarchical ruler. In fact, through its 375 descent, Libra is the quintessential exemplar of the third aspect of divinity. Libra, and this is from the Tibetan. In Libra, the first real vision of the path appears, and that is the razor-edged path of discipleship, but also later the path to Shambhala. It's very interesting how Libra and Aries are related to the Great Bear and entry into the highest head center of all. Life of soul and form is balanced. Neither dominates, equilibrium, an interlude wherein the soul organizes itself for battle, and the personality waits. And even now the personality of humanity is waiting for a great battle, which will emerge as we enter more the discipleship and scorpionic stage. There is a balancing of forces which is occurring now in the larger scale, and hopefully we can achieve a degree of equilibrium so that the soul may assert itself and win. Okay, so an interlude, yes, this is the probationary path, duality known. And the key words, of course, I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force, as well let choice be made. So I recommend to your study this profound image. Really, the more you look at it, the more one sees. All right, friends, now on to the meditation. Our work together usually involves some discussion of Libra, some discussion of the sign of the zodiac, which is powerful at the time, to get our minds attuned so that they may be sharpened and receptive in the meditative process. And we are certainly now in the day of receiving and holding, the day of safeguarding. We're within just a few hours of the full moon, and already, of course, the power of this great constellation can be felt. Once it was a constellation that was connected with Scorpio, the claws of the scorpion. Libra was known. It is actually a triangular constellation showing its deep connection to the spiritual will, and with that will working out the issues of law, sex, and money, the three aspects, and we see that so prominent in the world today. Okay. So we will then enter the meditative process. As we withdraw our consciousness from the personality and its vehicles and enter deeply into the presence of the soul. And we feel ourselves established as a soul within the field of light, love, and spiritual power. But we know the soul is really a state of connectedness. There is no my soul or thy soul per se. There are individual centers within the one soul, and so we enter into the deep sense of our shared consciousness, enter into a deep sense of the group soul. And wherever we are on the planet, in our physical anchorage, it is as if space between us does not exist, and in consciousness we are together. We are together and as one. And we link up imaginatively in soul with the spiritually minded people of the world, the members of the new group of world servers, the men and women of goodwill. We use our inner eye, our imagination, scanning the planet for those points of light with whom we are especially connected in soul and consciousness. There's not a single country where a man or woman of goodwill, and even a member of the new group of world servers, cannot be found. And we feel that intimate connection in soul consciousness. With all of them. So we feel very expansive in our consciousness. And all the many groups and our group are seen merging into the one soul of humanity. That one soul, including the consciousness of every human being, whether in the body or out of the body. One consciousness. There is no my soul or thy soul, but the one soul. And this second ray mantram from the second ray keynote, naught is but me. From that point of sentient life, let the soul realize the consciousness of God. Then let the word reverberate through the silence. Naught is but me. And this is the realization that comes to us when we enter into the state of contemplation, strongly ruled by Libra and Venus. The unification of the subject and the object, naught is but me. Together we focus at a point of mental tension. The mental unit of the group, a point of tension on the mental plane, which each of us contributes to. And as we strengthen our own point of tension through the will of the soul, we strengthen the group point of tension. So each of us, according to our soul ray or according to the second ray, will bring in an aspect of the will, strengthening the point of tension on the mental plane, which will prove our platform for higher contacts via the Antakarana. For the first ray, the will to initiate. Second, the will to unify. Third, the will to evolve. Fourth, the will to harmonize. Fifth, the will to act. Sixth, the will to cause. Seventh, the will to express. We bring in a quality of the will overshadowed by the will to unify, the second ray quality. We strengthen the point of group tension on the mental plane. And from that point of tension, we draw upward all of the resources of the personality, the vitality, the aspiration, we draw it up into the point of group tension on the mental plane. We can do this by breathing it upwards, using the imagination. So all the resources of the personality are available for our projection into still higher realms, or still more interior realms. We can visualize then the Antakarana, the rainbow bridge. For each of us of a dual color, however we wish to visualize this, the Tibetan leaves a lot of freedom. 2 colors, one of the soul, one of the personality. Red for the first ray, indigo second ray, green third ray, yellow fourth ray, orange, or if you prefer, indigo blue for the 5th ray, its esoteric color, light blue or silvery rose for the 6th ray, violet for the 7th. We visualize the dual colored Antakarana, either moving inward towards the center of a sphere where the diamond blue light can be found, or upward towards the blue-white diamond, whichever you prefer. And as the dual-colored Antakarana moves towards the point of spirit, it touches, as it were, the Manasic permanent atom, the Buddhic permanent atom, the Atmic permanent atom. It enters the field, therefore, of abstract mind, pure reason, and harmony, and spiritual will. So we hold the visualization for a little while, seeing not only our apparently individual Antakarana with its 2 colors, but all the group Antakarana, the many, many strands of all who are participating in all of the colors of the rainbow, rising upward, cone-like, towards the blue-white diamond of spirit, or moving inward towards the center of the sphere, the blue-white diamond, uniting us all. In those realms where wisdom prevails, the divine will prevails, the divine mind prevails. And we are touching those realms and can become sensitive to their impression, and this we do through the act of projection. We will use the 2nd ray word of power together to project across the Antakarana, the vivid line, a brilliant white light projected across the Antakarana, the group Antakarana, ending in the blue-white diamond. And we will sound the Om as we project, thinking intently in the group mind. I see the greatest light. I see the greatest light. I see the greatest light. And we will hold that projection all through this meditation, meaning that we as a group will be open to the spiritual triad with which Libra is particularly associated. It rules the hierarchy of the triads, and its symbol is the same as that of the spiritual triad, the triangle. We will be receptive then, as a group, to all three levels. To all three levels of the spiritual triad. And it is my hope that this connection is working. If not, then just proceed, or Kay will assist. We have entered the realm of the spiritual hierarchy of our planet, which is focused triadally. And we can establish an intimate relation, in imagination at least, and probably energetically, with the spiritual hierarchy. And so we offer our solidarity with the Brotherhood of Light, with the great spiritual hierarchy. We use the fires of gratitude, which Master Morya says are the greatest of all the fires. We are triadally receptive at this point, and therefore are attuning resonantly with that world where the spiritual hierarchy is focused, and we know that at this time there is a gathering of hierarchical energy, hierarchical intent, and so we will use largely the second ray note and offer our gratitude, our solidarity, our willing participation with the elder brothers and sisters in the light. And we begin with our salutations to the Great Lord, who is the head of all our spiritual hierarchy. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all Masters. As he is the Prince of Peace, as this sign is so important in his makeup, we attune with the Lord of Love. We salute the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Salutations to the Master Morya, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations, the one who strengthens all disciples. Salutations to the Master KH, whose ashram is focally preparing for the reappearance of the Christ. Salutations to the Master DK, who is our specific teacher through the Blue Books, training aspirants for initiation. Salutations to your own Master as you know him to be or conceive him to be. Salutations to the entire spiritual hierarchy of the planet, with whom we express our cooperation and solidarity. Together as a group, we raise our thought, our imagination, to the center where the will of God is known, Shambhala, and as a group, in deepest reverence and in all humility, identified as the group soul, we attempt to attune to the will aspect, to the presence, the great presence of Sanat Kumara, standing at the center of Shambhala. The Om we sound is a long, silent Om, as we imagine the group soul and the soul of all humanity increasingly imbued with his energy. Libra governs the path to Shambhala, the royal road, the Sushumna, the great path. And the spiritual will descends through Atma, from the spirit monadic level, and makes itself felt in right balance through all planetary processes. Now we stand as a group, but we are not personalities, we are points of being consciousness. And all these points merge into one point, which is the group point of being consciousness. And let us feel that we are that point together. We are together a point of tension. And we are making application to the higher realms. Symbolically, we visualize the golden path towards the indigo sphere or center of a radiant sun. And this point of group tension rests upon the path, hovers over it. We will be absorbed into the indigo. The golden path shortens, and we move with it. Shortens, moving toward the indigo center until absorbed into the indigo sphere, and we find ourselves this group point of tension, absorbed in the indigo sphere, and let us attempt to feel that. And in this sphere, it is as if the presence of Master DK's consciousness can be found. We are to meet him and work within his consciousness, a vast consciousness that understands so much of the ray and planetary, zodiacal, constellational energies. The Antakarana, vividly alive, the presence of the Master, the sphere of indigo, we apply ourselves then to the recognition of the higher energies, attempting to feel them as realities, as presences. They are real, they are here, they are strong at this time. So we will then align with the qualities emanating from, first, the planetary rulers of Libra, Venus, the exoteric ruler conveying the decisive emergence of soul values, balanced wisely with personality necessities. We will apply to Uranus, the esoteric ruler conveying the power to relate to each other in Libra with archetypal authenticity, soul to soul, spirit as one spirit. And we will apply imaginatively to Saturn, the hierarchical ruler and exalted planet, suggesting the consummation of karma, injustice, beauty, and love. Within the indigo sphere, we will make application imaginatively to the reception of these energies, which we will absorb and distribute. So first then to ponder on Venus, the power of Venus in relation to Libra. This power to fortify the loving influence of the solar angel, an influence which keeps us upon the spiritual path, helping us always to decide for spiritual values. Venus magnetizing the personality towards the soul, bringing about that fusion of the disciple and the soul, leading eventually to the consummation of the divine marriage. Consummated, let us say, at the 3rd degree, even at the 4th. So we contemplate this fusion of soul and personality under Venus, fusion in harmony, in beauty, in love, this marriage in the heavens, the absorption of the personality into the radiant beauty of the soul. We feel the fusion, the group soul merging with the group personality. Through the power of the solar angel, the group solar angel, through the power of Venus, so that we can carry this power of love and harmony in the beauty of a fused, soul-infused state, and tread the path in that soul-infused state. Relating to each other horizontally in love wisdom, relating vertically to the higher spiritual powers through love and wisdom. Balance and beauty in soul fusion. So that the solar angel is present within us, and our harmonious expression expresses that solar angel. In balanced beauty throughout the personality. And we open our consciousness, the consciousness of the group, to this Venusian stream of energy, on whatever color we choose, whether it's the orange, or the rose, or the deep indigo. See the Venusian stream of energy coming into the group and acting in those areas where the group has need of this energy. See the group life augmented and improved, more highly qualified by this Venusian energy as it transmits the energy of the constellation Libra. For that is what the planetary rulers do. So that this Venusian quality is instilled in the group. And the relations in the group are relations of love, harmony, peace, right human relations. Ridding us of the distortions of glamour, the chaotic Maya, and the separative illusion, ridding us of all these things. And we will sound the Om. We will use the note A, associated often with Venus. Visualize the group imbued with indigo light, receiving the qualities of Venus in relation to Libra. And may the divine marriage be consummated in our consciousness and in our energy system. Venus in our midst. We attune further now to the power of Uranus, that great first ray, seventh ray planet. In relation to Libra, this power to bring about a new social order based on archetypal authenticity in all relations. Not artificial relations, but authentic relations. Helping us bring through in our relationships the archetype that we represent, in fact, the archetype which we are. And we will develop a respect for and a tolerance of others as necessary archetypes in the divine mind, in the universal mind, which Uranus rules. We will visualize the emergence of new forms of group creativity and individual creativity based on the transmutation of the sex impulse. For Libra does rule the sacral center in many respects, and Uranus certainly does for disciples, and also plays its role in the throat center, where the seventh ray is established eventually, and finally in the highest head center. The upward rising of the lower energies to produce a new creativity. So we can truly become collaborators, co-workers, co-creators by using our authentic nature, co-creators with hierarchy, co-creators in the creative divine plan. And we contemplate fresh modes of human cooperation and interplay which contribute to the vitalization, betterment, and balance of all energy systems, great and small, within our planet. Etheric revitalization, etheric balance, vital cooperation between individuals and groups in all their Uranian authenticity. A new way of relating. Still within the law, yes, but a new and authentic way. honoring the creativity of each and all, the archetype which each is, and finding the way to blend and harmonize with that authenticity so that God's will be done under the law in full beauty and authenticity. The violet planet Uranus giving us great etheric vitality and connecting us to the supermind of Libra, connecting us to the cosmic ethers where we truly begin to live. Uranus, the living planet. We feel this energy sweeping through the group and through humanity. We visualize it. Purifying, bringing all into right order and relationship. The ability of the etheric body to carry the archetype. Another example of heaven coming to earth, spirit and matter united, just the way Venus represents soul and personality united. And we feel this vitalization of Uranus sweeping through the group, so that we become capable of new relationships, cooperative, vital, authentic. We see the good that can be done in the group through the power of Uranus, through the violet power. We will visualize this, seeing the group benefit from this, and the wider group, and the wider group, and humanity as a whole. We will use the note associated with the seventh ray. As the moon veils Uranus, the note B. The right use of energy in the group, the right flow of energy to bring about the manifestation of the archetype in a balanced and beautiful manner. This also is the right use of money, so critical in the world today. And in the few hours that remain before the full moon, let us deepen our connection with these planets, Venus and Uranus, thus far. In a way, soul and spirit. And we move on then to an attunement with the hierarchical ruler, so powerful in Libra, exalted as well, Saturn. We ponder together on the beauty of divine law, the beneficence of divine law, however personally uncomfortable it may be at certain times or may seem. The glyph of Saturn green in our midst, distributing divine law. Saturn has a first ray aspect too. Divine law through the spiritual will emanating from the atmic plane. Libra and Saturn ruling the Atmic plane. Divine law, Atma, in our lives. Always with recourse to this law. There is a dynamic equilibrium in manifestation intended by the divine plan, an expression of Atma, impulse from the highest level of the spiritual triad. Divine law expressing, divine will expressing through dynamic equilibrium, expressing the divine plan, representing the divine purpose. And we ponder on this lawful balancing of karmic imbalances and the relation of this balancing to the just and harmonious expression of the divine plan. Let us be imbued by the spiritual will. Through the jewel and the lotus, through the sacrifice petals, through the head centers, eventually animating the base of the spine, thus connecting Libra as the royal road to Shambhala, between the base of the spine and the highest head center, all from Atma, from Saturn. Feel that. Thy will be done. From the highest to the lowest, in perfect balance and beauty. Thy will be done. Shambhala expressing on earth, expressing through our Uranian authenticity, expressing through the unitive love of the soul, thy will be done. Into the group, the Saturnian energy, the friend of all disciples, Saturn, the friend of all initiates, Saturn. We will see the group absorbing this, using it as it must use it, imbued, endowed with Saturnian energy. We will use the note Fa, the green note F. We sound the Om together. We visualize the strength of Saturn imbuing the group so that we may function according to divine law in beauty and balance, with poise, with skill in action, with divine realism. This energy is present now. The green of Saturn, the violet of Uranus, let us call it the indigo of Venus, all absorbed in the group. So we are further qualified than we were before these moments of impression. And thus for the larger group, and thus for humanity, in so much need of these energies at the time when determining decisions are being made. We continue, and our consciousness is raised imaginatively to the solar logos, working through the blazing sun, the sun which falls in Libra, and yet, from the love-wisdom point of view, is paradoxically strengthened. The great blue love-wisdom pouring throughout the solar system, every tiny unit of life, every unit of life whatsoever, imbued by the love-wisdom of our solar logos. We are a tiny part of the sun, or of the solar logos. And in us may that solar logoic sun shine as representative of the soul, as representative of the triad and the spirit. Beings who find our home within the sun and are emissaries of the sun. Conveying that solar power through right human relationships, in love and understanding. And we carry our imagination upward toward Libra. Its light, the light of Libra, the light that moves to rest. This is the light that oscillates until a point of balance is achieved. It is the light which is distinguished by a moving up and down. And so we are not just dealing with the horizontal pairs of opposites here, but the vertical pairs of opposites. And in this moving up and down comes the fusion of the soul and personality, and eventually of the spirit and matter. Till a point of perfect poise is reached. And the dynamic equilibrium sustained. And may that harmlessness of Libra, that perfect poise, be ours. That completed point of view, that divine understanding. May we work with the light that moves to rest. As we open ourselves to the energy quality of Libra, we can visualize it if we've seen that great triangle in the sky, adjoining the Scorpion. The powerful third ray, and also the powerful second ray, And not to forget the seventh and the first. Libra, the source of creative intelligence, but also of divine love and understanding. We ponder the pairs of opposites in our lives, especially the soul and personality, but also the spirit and the soul-infused personality. We ponder the royal road between the Ida and Pingala, the Sushumna, the road that leads to the peace, the perfect peace of Shambhala. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. And in the group soul, impressed by the triad, we contemplate together. As Libra rules contemplation, I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. The forces of purpose in the head, the forces of will at the base of the spine, the way which leads between them, that's one interpretation. And always we are midway between the high and the low, throughout all eternity. Even in time, we are midway between two eternities. Always. Always we are at the central point. Even as we rise, the central point rises with us. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. This is the path of union, uniting the opposites, uniting the extremes. It is the energy by which the extremes meet. And as we tread this path, we are poised, seeing the necessity of the pairs of opposites. We have a completed point of view. We tread the path in divine understanding, These are the qualities of harmlessness. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. In a way, this path is at the very center of the triangle. It is none of the three aspects, and yet unites them all. On a very high level, it is the path of being, and is trodden into Shambhala, the home of being on our planet. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. And as the time for the full moon approaches, we are not far now. Let us intensify our contemplation of this, dwell with it. Sit by yourself if you can, ponder it, contemplate it. See its application to your life, to the life of your group and groups, and to the life of humanity. Libra in the midst of humanity, the indigo Libra in the midst of humanity. Creating more balance in a dangerously unbalanced situation. That type of balance which is necessary if the Christ is to reappear. Providing the conditions necessary through right human relations if the Christ is to reappear. The condition of reasonable peace, the condition of reasonable sharing, economic sharing, the condition of the end of the abuses in our religious organizations, through the application of right human relations. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force, and may humanity be the one who chooses the way. We reaffirm our alignment, really beginning with the one about whom naught may be said. We will think of this as expressing through the hundreds of Pleiades outward toward the constellation Libra, towards our solar logos, towards the planet Venus, Uranus, Saturn, towards the earth, absorbed in Shambhala under the law of assembly, affecting every monad, affecting the hierarchy in every soul, affecting the energy system of the personality, the head center, the throat center, the ajna, the heart, bringing balance to the energy system through and through, so that the divine marriage may be consummated in the initiates and disciples and brought more closely to humanity. Libra. Indigo Libra in our midst. How can Libra be applied on our planet and in the midst of humanity and in relation to its relation to other kingdoms? How can Libra be applied? See an area of trouble, of conflict, of distortion, of danger, and see the indigo Libra glyph in its midst, restoring balance, better conditions, an aspect of peace, of the peace that must come. And carry this influence with you, applying it to the troubled areas. The power of the group, the power of the groups, the power of the hierarchy. Even imagined the power of Shambhala, bringing balance, beauty, right relations, peace. The indigo glyph of Libra as the symbol of peace. And we will offer our blessing. We will use the second ray note. We will bless humanity so that it may rise to the new spiritual potentials, as if we can together transmit something of the quality of Libra and its planetary rulers and the rays associated. As if we can transmit, we bless humanity. And we will close our meditation with the great invocation. And we will pause contemplatively within the verses. And hopefully you have been able to follow this It's a somewhat uncertain network connection, but if you couldn't hear, I hope you could read, or at least follow along in your own way, and we will sound together the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you, friends, for joining us. Let us... I'm getting these signals about the audio connection. Well, I don't know, but at least if you can hear me, this webinar has been videoed, and the audio and video should be correct in the recording. And so as soon as possible, I will get this out to you so you can use this either for the full moon if you wish, or in the 3 days of distribution, which, let us remember, concern the qualities of registration all day tomorrow, then the sense of expectancy involving the astral body, and then finally this firm, confirmed belief involving the etheric physical body. I appreciate your attendance, and well, we have about 3 hours and a half before the full moon, which occurs at 2:05:43 Greenwich Mean Time. So let us hold the point of tension, and if you're going to sleep, hold the point of tension, and if you're awake, hold the point of tension. Let us increase the point of tension so that these very necessary energies can work through us as individuals and as spiritually inclined groups. Okay, so thank you, and we will be in touch.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.